Okay. Yeah.
Proceed, Mayor Rock.
I see we're going to amend the agenda.
Yes. Yes.
Excellent. Excellent. Okay, we call this meeting to order. Guys, we never use it, but there we go. We call our meeting to order. We have to use it once in a 4 years. There we go. I will retire it.
Or it gets rusty.
So on that note, gentlemen, we proceed with the adoption of the agenda.
Sure, then the mover and a seconder, please. Councilor Champagne and Councilor Kelly. That the draft agenda presented to council and dated the 27th day of June 2023 be amended by adding under agenda item number 16, other business, the following. Request for exemption under section 4.1 of bylaw number 2015-33, being a bylaw to prohibit excessive noise. A request is being received from Captain Pierce from 22 Wing North Bay for an exemption of bylaw number 2015-33 for the purpose of a firing party at an internment military service at the cemetery in Astorville on July 5th, 2022, between 11 a.m. and 12.
And so basically, we are trying as a council to avoid bringing items under other business that we have not, that hasn't been prepared. But this one is a special item that has come from staff, and I'll let our CEO briefly speak to it, and he will speak to it at length under other business. We feel it's an acceptable item to be brought forward last minute.
Yeah, so there will be on July 5th, the request came after the agenda was circulated, but basically there's an internment that's going to happen at the Astorville Cemetery July 5th. And it's for Master Warrant Officer Brad Etier. So what they want to do is the firing party is going to be present. But what happens, it's under our noise bylaw. It's not, it's prohibited basically. So there's got to be a request to council and approval by council for that to occur.
So with your permission, we'd like to amend the agenda to have this item brought forward for discussion. Well, thank you so much. So everyone in favor of the amended agenda? Put that down.
Nodding my head up and down.
Yes.
Okay,
That's good.
I'll agree on that.
That's all good. Thank you so much. And accepting the minutes of the previous meeting.
Please. Mayor Rogers and Councilor Trahan. That the minutes of the council meeting held June 13th, 2023 be adopted as circulated.
All in favor? Well, thank you so much. Any business arising from the minutes? There being none. Any declarations of conflict of interest or pecuniary interest thereof? There being none. Chair's comments. I don't have any comments except you mentioned how the rain is a great relief. Hopefully it's in many parts of northeastern Quebec. I haven't followed the news today, so I'm not sure where the rain is falling, but certainly I think we've all agreed that it's very welcome. On that note, we move to delegations to council, and so this evening we're welcoming Mr. Wayne Boutillier. And just as we did last week, we have provided directions to Mrs. Boutillier. We invited him to advance. And thank you, Mr. Boutillier. We did receive your presentation. Thank you for forwarding it in advance. And there it is up on the screen, right behind us. Those are the impacts of COVID. During COVID, the so quickly had to ramp up its online tools and technology. And so basically, as a result, now we've invested in the tools that are required to make sure that our citizens can view our business both in person and online. So anyway, there we go. We see it in action tonight. So a pleasure to welcome you, Mr. Boutillier. We turn it over to.
Merci, Madam. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. My wife and Sheila live here in Canada at 83 Nicholas Road. We're here in response to last 2 weeks ago's delegation by Ms. Bridget Savell. On a dock in Municipal Island down by the launch. So I've done a little bit of research, I'm gonna go through some history as I know it. And we've only been here 20 years, so we're new people in the these things. But there's, I know there's some people that don't know. What I kind of picked up here is Big Moose Road from the stop sign down to the launch. Now, some of these names are old and dated. You see at number 23, that was Jeff Wagner. Jeff and his wife have sold to another couple who were in, and I believe it's their daughter and their in-laws. So across the road, you see a little dock. There's two docks there with two red dimensions. Number 35 is Ron Poirier. The prior, sorry. He's got a little gazebo, a little octagon gazebo, and a dock. The seaweed. 47 is Jerry. We lost Jerry 4 or 5 years ago. Kathy Bassett's still there. She maintains a dock. You can see it there in the blue. Coming down next is Gail Griffiths, represented here by our father. That was originally Emil Boudreaux's place, the Whitely friends. And they have access to the dock beside the 44. Next is Lee Griffiths. Again, mom and dad are here. Scott and Mitch are here. Myself and my wife. And Renee and Diane Boudreaux. So that's the extent of the people that are down. She was doing slides. But I'll start out by saying, in my opinion, this could have all been resolved. Simple conversation. I don't know what I mean. First indication that my wife and I had was last winter, phone call from the municipality office. That they're drafting a letter to us. Prohibit us putting dog. And they're had a complaint. Nothing. It's been last summer in Newfoundland for several weeks traveling. Could I turn a slide?
Yep, which one would you like to go to?
Let's back to.
Yeah.
So right about.
Back another one, Wayne?
This circle indicates the land that Donna and Giselle Gaucher own. They lived at 89. They own that whole piece of property where we have the dog. So there is where it used to be their family cottage. It's right above where the mailbox is. There's another picture. You can see the house Donna built. The boat house is the end. The parking lot is the beach. That was all Gaucher's land. See them?
Oh.
You can see that photo. The red boathouse is rich with this dock. And beside it is my dock, my boat. That's attached to this side. You can see it's attached to municipal land. What I want to make clear is that dock's been established for over 30 years. And it's not mine. I don't want the material that's in it. Sticks in it, but it's there on behalf of the families across the street. It's access to the lake for the Griffiths and back in the day through the 3 rivers. That was the deal that Donna. The launch, the whole area of Australia, in exchange for other piece of land in the community, which is subsequently sold. This enabled the municipality or the township back then to procure the land and develop this beautiful area we have today, the beach. Jenna, she's behind me now. That dog was there when the kids were there, 1980. So it's been there for 35 years. It's some shape of that. Donna kept his boat in that boathouse, see the picture. Donna and Renee Boudreaux put that dock in. The position of the dock had no intent to infringe on the property. That was Donna's property at the time. Renee and Donna were fishing buddies. So location of the dock is not bad, it's just that for all this place. I want to say 10 years ago, when the Star came, and redid this wall, it was falling down. So they redid that bottom wall with the fence. The stairs were always there, but they had this rail. And if you can see at the back, there's no parking up against the trees towards the lake. That was put by the municipality. That no parking sign, I know it's there because I used to put rocks and stick it straight up everything. That was there before the mailbox. So somebody had to know back then that that little piece was part of the whole thing. What do we have here? Had it later on. So that was one of the access points where we saw that. Now here we're looking more towards Washington, one of sides. And you can barely see it, but to the right of the original washrooms, we purposely built was a pathway. Okay, one more slide. There, to the right of the washrooms, there's a gate down, and this goes down to the other side of the beach, which there was up there. It's purposely built for these residents have access to it. Back to three Boudreaux, so three Boudreaux brothers. Emile lived in the white A-frame. Albert built the house I mean, Rennie and Diane are still besides. The Griffiths were there the whole time. The intent was for those four families, four households to have access to the lake and still have the beach and all this good stuff. It was a gentleman's agreement back then, it's not a wedding, and that's just how things were done. There's no deeds, there's no leeways or easements. Just to mention this, when I first came here, I met this gentleman, Mr. Terry Kelly. Doing at the time, but he talked to me about the Indian Watch program and convinced my wife and I to take part of it. We signed up for it and we became able to watch. Gave us a briefing, gave us a phone number, they would call. It's on the van, those are not by them with a watch center. We put the sign. That's been there for almost 20 years. Here's the history. It's 2014. This satellite picture. You can see the red roof. That's the boathouse. On one side is Richard's dock. On the other side is my dock with my boat. Slide. 2017, there's Rich's dock. Here's my little dock. 2020, I don't know what happened. This is COVID. You can see the swim dock is in, but we don't have our docks out. One more dock. 2022, again, none of the docks are out. And one more slide. And this is the latest, most recent picture we have. My dock is in, Rich's. See the most time. Municipality, stewardship of this area. Just maybe watch people. I think that's a good thing. It's been a long activity as prevention. It could be because of the mailboxes that are there. You check my mail all day. Yeah, that's good. I've not seen it down the dock. And I believe there's a very simple solution. The dock's been there for 32 years. It's an issue of complaints. If we just move the dock to the right, whatever the requirement may be, for the 16, whatever it is, we're going to miss line. Actually, we walk. It's gangland. Be away from their property, away from their fishing lane. What that is. I don't that was last. We spoke to our insurance companies, the personal insurance. We were told to cover through our house insurance for the docks, no liability there. Previous years, Rich and I were the friends of your buddies. I helped him fix the stock, helped him put his rails in. We drank beer together. There was never an issue before. That's all I have. Some of the people that are here are residents from across the street. So they have a dog and it's like. That's all I have. Any questions?
It's a very well put together presentation. I'm curious to know how you got the slides from 2017, but it's not necessary to have. It's just, you did a good research to, I think you're.
Oh, and there's a present picture. They just put their dog in this week. And it's literally 4 feet away. From the dog. So any discussion about the close to problem, and said close to the problem.
Thank you for that. Complete the presentation, and on that note, while we open it up to council members who would like to ask questions. To me, Councilor Chapman.
I wasn't at the meeting last week. I was at the meeting through Zoom, but did I miss something? Whoever was speaking last week said that was just put up lately, the dock. And the sign was just erected lately, like no parking sign. It wasn't there before. Did I hear that in the meeting?
You heard it right, that's correct.
Sorry, no, correct, yes, thank you for that.
Well, that's what I heard, but then I'm just looking at the slides, but it's shown that it's been there for a while.
No, I'm sorry, no, thank you. Yeah, we'll have that.
It's all right. No,
Other comments.
I'm just asking questions. So when you bought the property 20 years ago, were you under, there was nothing on the deed, though. There was no deed saying that was yours. It was back to the gentleman's agreement, what you're talking about, the Rainey and I forgot, Atsu, is it Atsu? Amen. Yeah, those don't go to, but it's email with across the road, Boudreaux.
I thought.
I buy it, that's right. Yeah. So I go back in history too, and I remember that railing being put up, the new railing. I was there when it got put up, so. I was just asking the question. I just thought that the way you're showing it now, that dock's been there a long time.
Councilor Champagne, did you say that, did municipality put up that railing?
I'm not understanding. I think the municipality did. I believe I was around then when they got put up.
Okay, other comments or questions?
I guess,
Wait, if I could take
is that when you're looking at that, it's in that dock is in the municipal property, right? And so there is our dock. Do people just assume that's part of our property and use it? And if they do assume it and use it, your insurance covers it, but our insurance would also have to cover it, and it's not our property, not our materials, not to code or something. I guess I'm asking insurance issues and if it's in our dock area. So.
It's kind of weird. We've been here a long time. I don't know why neighbors don't get along, but that's my opinion. But I mean, at the end of the day, that's been there for a long time. And I know in the legal statute, now that it's brought forward, we have to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have to deal with it before, but now we have to deal with it in one shape or form. So I guess that's where we're sitting at right now, right?
With respect to the mayor, Rocker's question, and Mr. C, would you say that our insurance would be upgraded? Could be involved?
Oh, for sure, it's a huge liability for us. Like, I mean, I'm very surprised your insurance doesn't have an issue with it. You've got a piece of your property on our property. So I don't know how there's no issue with that. Like if somebody hurts themselves on that dock and it ends up being your dock and they come after you, I don't know how insurance wants to allow that to happen when it's not your property, but I know our insurance certainly doesn't want that dock there.
We're falling joint several liability.
Well, yeah, well, there's a huge issue with it. We don't know who's using the dock. There seems to be several parties using the dock. If there's any drinking involved with it, if there's any young kids, anything to do with that, we're gonna be automatically named in a lawsuit, right? It's our property.
The world has changed.
Well, of course it has, yeah.
You know, I must admit that, a couple Sundays ago, I decided I was going to go take a better look. I never walked on the dock and I went and there was a couple of people fishing. And I said, hello, are you part of members of the PCE? I asked if they were members of the PCE family. They were not. there was a crew of young fellows that were fishing on both docks. And I think I realized that I said, this is, I said, it's private dock, it's not for the other dock to fish, but it certainly highlighted the fact to me that, yes, I do think it does get used to, I mean, there's no one there necessarily to monitor the use of that dock. So to your point, I think that's a good question. It's occurred.
Yeah.
No, we cannot, no one could apologize, but I think you can see, you could ask.
You can't stop anybody. My experience, my experience, I've seen. Seen, it's down there. Which one, seen. Traps, little traps, but there's metal still fish. I've seen that, I've seen that somewhere. We addressed it with our insurance, I understand this study. Can't say what's gonna happen in the future. I understand. With a no private dock sign. Don't liability, or gate across the dock or something that.
Question for you, if the pontoon boat comes in, the people have been drinking and fishing and what let it be, and you come in, you hit a kid on that dock and kill them, your insurance is gonna cover our liability? They're well aware of that? We're never gonna be named?
I can't answer that question.
There's no way.
Nobody in this room can.
We're automatically named. So
There's insurance, same as if they did the same. What happens is we do the same thing with this.
Yeah.
Drinking is great.
no, I'm just answering, I'm kind of questioning you on your insurance policy.
I've seen what they did it from step.
Yeah.
Insurance policy.
Yeah, I've never heard of,
Let's try to keep it to one conversation.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
No. Continue.
no, all I'm getting at is I'm not sure of any insurance company that's insuring a piece of property you own that's attached to someone else's property. Liability wise, having no issue with that seems odd.
That's how we worded the question.
Yeah.
Hopefully that happens.
Yeah. Yeah, because I know our insurance is totally against it.
In general, in the experience of municipalities is whenever there are legal issues, the municipality is the first name because they often feel that a municipality has the financial capacity to pay. So at the time, lawyers, maybe they say these things, but when these situations occur, this is the experience, not necessarily of ours, but typically of other municipalities and people that advise us on these issues. Those are the things that they speak to us of. And that's it. Further questions or comments? Councilor Kelly?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for coming forward. Great presentation. We've got a tough one ahead of us because it's the bottom line is private water on public property. And there's nothing in writing. We've had our staff check. If I'm not mistaken, there's nothing in writing.
Title searches been done, there's no.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's been no agreement in the past.
This is the third issue I've been on council that we've had to deal with. We had one on Quay Road where people were actually being charged to go swimming and it wasn't the person's property. But it was assumed, they assumed it was their property, it turned out to be municipal property. That was one we had a number of years ago. We had people leaving their boat at the South Shore ramp and storing them there over the window without permission, but it had gone on so long, and I think what's happened here is everybody assumed that it was a municipal dock, where it's a private dock. Because the municipal dock goes in and out, as you know, on a seasonal basis, goes in the spring and comes out in the late fall. The problem we've got right now is if we allow this to go on once we're apprised what's gone on, then we're setting a precedent, in my opinion. In other words, anybody that doesn't live on the lake can put a dock on municipal property and it's good to go. So I've got 2 or 3 recommendations. I'll wait till all the questions are answered before I go. I think maybe the deputy mayor, do you have any more questions, further questions yourself?
No, that was my biggest one.
Steve?
Who's your insurance company?
Personal? Personal, yeah, personal. So they never gave you anything in writing? They did? Can you bring it forward?
All right, so have it.
So you have it in your own policy that you can attach a piece of your property onto a Crown Corporation piece of property, not specifically? So I just asked if you had a policy. I'm just asking a question. If you have that in written?
No.
No, okay.
No, I apologize. I'm gonna have to ask you to leave. You need to respect the process.
Okay, so we'll just move on here. So things, I understand things are done in seventies, eighties, nineties, and I have to agree that in today's age now, it's a huge liability to have somebody else's piece of property attached to a Crown corporation. We're here all here because we're here to, what's the greater good for the municipality? We look after the residents of the municipality and make some tough decisions and choices. So I can't see your insurance company, and I've dealt with insurance companies for 20+ years. I've been in court with the insurance companies. I've been dealt with them in a long time. I'm not sure if you know what I do, but it doesn't matter. But I'm just saying, I really have a hard time. That's why I asked if you had something written in paperwork. And if you do, please bring it forward to the municipality at your leisure. There's one, just go back to Councillor Kelly saying we had some issues and there was gonna be one issue that's gonna be brought forward. It was the snowmobile trail that was coming off Lake Osmissing onto somebody's piece of property to get to the gas station. And that person owns that property. You know where I'm getting at? Just down the road from you. And that person there stopped. Didn't want the snowmobiles coming onto their property, and he owns that property. So, you know, the correlation on it. So, you know what I mean? Somebody owns it. Their insurance says no, you have to cease, have to put some signage up. So it's a huge liability, sir. So you're gonna have to really, I don't know what you said to your insurance company, but on the other hand, this is a huge liability to the residents, and we got to think about if something does happen, it affects all of us. Just not a select few or a small portion of people, it selects the whole community.
What I'll do is I'll attack the personal insurance company, I say, put in writing that this dog, which is no longer on municipal land, is covered under our house, so I get it right, something like.
Yeah, that's fine. And we have to look at our side of it too, right? So we have to think the totality of the municipality. Okay. That's good. That's all I have.
So basically all questions have been asked. Okay. On that, this week's House of Valley.
Sure, my recommendation, and this is just my own personal recommendation, is that we ask the dog to be removed from municipal property because we're setting dangerous precedent for power to be there. There's no control. We made it a lot easier. What happened 30 years ago, I have no idea. But I would like also to recommend that the other 3 dogs that were on the chart, that we have a staff report come back, staff to investigate why they were there, because now we've got different owners than the original people that owned. And it's like these dogs are grandfathered in on municipal property. So I'd like a staff report, and I'd also like a legal opinion of the municipality's liability for the other 3 dogs that are in question. But I think as soon as possible, the dog in question tonight should be removed. That's my opinion.
So we've heard Councillor Kelly's recommendation. We other responses to that, Councillor Champagne?
Yeah, I have to agree with Councillor Kelly. The only thing that really bothers me is that it started out a small situation that could have been resolved between neighbors. Now it's going to bring on 4 other neighbors into the same category. And I don't know who started this, but they're going to get the burn of it. So unfortunately, this is what's going to happen.
But the only other thing is, I agree, but the only thing is that we go to our lawyer, it's gonna cost us money now. So now it's costing residents more money. This is where we're at now.
Yeah.
So this is just a start.
And if I may add to that, the only reason, Steve, that I mentioned that we asked for a legal opinion simply because this one I think is straightforward. The other one, I understand, there was a council decision back in the 70s. No one knows for sure. But I know our CDO has checked with the former CDO. And apparently there was something from council giving permission for the 3 docks in question to be there. Now, I don't know the details. I wasn't part of the negotiations, obviously. But I don't know if it meant for the in perpetuity or for just the individuals that were involved. That I don't know. So I think in fairness, I think we also, as I said, we need a legal opinion on the other 3 because I wouldn't want to say remove the other 3 docks and then find out that they have a legal right to be there. But like Rick said, this is opening a can that I think we have to get resolved.
Yeah, and so if we're gonna enter into an investigation, then let's have all the information that back in the 70s, if that was the case. But we all know, and if it was a resolution that was back in the 70s, it has no foothold on it.
Right.
We know that. And we know that from the 70s, 80s, 90s, and even the 2000s, that liability has changed. Lawsuits have been changed. So we gotta, like, if that's the case and those are attached to on municipal properties, again, I'm thinking outside the box here. What's the greater good for the municipality? What's it gonna affect the municipality? No can concur. You've been on the fire department, you've been on the fire department, I've been on the fire department. We've all went to accidents on this lake. We know what goes on this lake. It's just next week. Somebody pulls up to his dock and wipes out the dock, wipes out shoreline, and there was the neighbor's kid playing out in the sand on the beach. Hopefully that never happens, but we all know now that now this is brought up, things are gonna happen now. We know that all 4 docks are gonna have to go bye-bye. Why? Because we're liable. I don't think you need a lawyer to tell you that.
So thank you very much, Councilor Brad. Good point.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Maybe on our property. Was that gonna get resolved?
Sorry?
It was a comment from Mr. Ray that said that dock may be on our property, the new dock that just went in. Yeah, I'm talking about the one next door you had mentioned. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, the property line that is.
I saw this
Yeah.
2 days ago.
No, not on our.
Other comments with respect to the, I'm sensing that we're in agreement overall with the resolution or the suggestion and recommendation that's put forward by Councilor Kelly. I asked as well that we consider language as well that is mentioned, because there was another dock there where the where Bird Point used to that we saw.
We'll have to take a look at it.
Take a look at it. Okay, so the direction of council is there to pass a resolution with respect to the dock that's on next to, that's next to the, I will refer to it as the Bootsy dock. Are we ready to pass a resolution this evening to direct staff on this matter, or do we want to wait until the full matter is investigated and brought back to our next council meeting? Next council meeting?
Who you asking, first of all?
I'm asking council, their opinions, I'm asking for a roundtable to see if you would like this, the recommendation put forward by Councilor Kelly. Is that we remove the dock that we give the direction. This evening to remove the Boutillier dock and the direction for staff to fully investigate the other 3 docks as well as the laneway that was referred to as the Bird Point property and bring that back to the next council meeting. Alternatively, we could have a full matter brought back to our next council meeting with a direction that would include removing the Boutillier dock.
So can I ask a question?
Yes, good.
There's a difference between direction and resolution.
Yes, we may pass them so that tonight
Okay.
we want to pass a resolution for removing the BTA dock.
Okay.
And a direction to staff to investigate that. I apologize.
Okay,
Thank you.
no, I.
Thank you. So what are the position of council on that? Thank you. What would that be?
Can I ask a question?
Great, Mr. Scott.
Make a comment. I agree with Councillor Terry, but I also would like, so we're not going back to the lawyer or getting charged again for advice. Why don't we deal with all four of them as a total? Get the information, let's do the investigation, let's get the appropriate paperwork. Get it all compiled, gives you time to do what you gotta do. If there's more information that you can supply to staff with regard to your insurance, sir, I would say that would probably be the best advice I can give you. Look at it again as a totality and we'll deal with it all four docs and then make one call to the lawyer and see what our proper decision is. Instead of dealing with one, have to make a call for another one, have to deal with another doc, make a call to the lawyer, and we're getting more bills now. But I agree with the resolution on it, but I think that we just need to add a little more meat to it. Let's deal with it all at once.
Is that, we have to tell
I'm fine with it. The only thing is, when we look at the lawyer and the insurance, and the letter for insurance, it's on public property, so you're using public property to access a private dock. Bouviers have no control, quite frankly, of who's on that dock, who isn't. Now, I went to the dock 2 weeks ago, prior to meeting Wayne Bouvier at the dock.
Yeah.
I met Wayne 1 week ago. Prior to that, I went to the dock. And I was told to not go near that dock because someone told, there was 2 young people there. They were told don't go near the dock because it's private property. So it's being viewed in the area as private property. It's on municipal land.
Yeah.
Right away. That's a red herring.
Exactly.
You
Okay,
don't disagree with that. It's a matter of whether we deal with it tonight or
so
even.
that's fine, but the insurance company is no way going to, in my opinion, insure a dock that the public has access to. It's not on private property, it's on municipal property. Anybody can access municipal property. We have no protection. That's the bottom. That's why I wanted to get rid of it. I'd make a decision tonight. That's the only reason I pushed for that.
Well, the only other thing,
There's a liability.
anything in Wayne sitting here now, if we take a portion of that dock out, so it's not accessible.
That's,
Until for,
that's fine. So there's no accessibility. I don't know if that's legal or not, quite frankly.
well, that would have to be up to him too, right?
Okay. Yeah. But I agree with you. If you're gonna pay the lawyer, let's pay the lawyer once.
Yeah.
Sure. But
So before us now, there's 3 options. One is that we basically just ask that the dock be removed. Pardon me, Councillor Champagne?
That's the third one.
That's a third option. Myself, I think it would personally be wise. I liked initially your recommendation to wait to do the full research to ensure we act in one manner at the same time. And that way, I don't, we're not disputing, we just have full information, and I think it's always best to make a decision when we have full information. And we treat everyone the same way as well. I think it's maybe another good basis for us. It's, you know, I mean, the world is different back then. You know, people worked with handshakes and we started working with handshakes. There was a time, it has changed. So we all understand that. But I do think it's best when we make decisions with full information.
Sure.
And so that would give us 2 weeks. Councillor Champagne?
Final comment from me. It's gonna open a Pandora's box, and I said this from the beginning. I said this when we first heard about it. You do one, and I know there's others, and there's gonna be others on top of that. As soon as this gets out and people say, well, that dock is not on municipal property, it's never gonna end. So we have to sit there and make sure our I's are crossed and T's are marked for the next meeting and talk to whoever we're gonna talk to find out how we're gonna deal with this.
Councillor Champagne, I'm glad you said that, because I think it's important to say to Mr. Gutierrez tonight that it's not his presentation and his information that has made us aware of the other docs. It was through our own research that we became aware of that. So please I don't want any neighbors to feel that you've set them up or that's not the case. Actually, we came about it as a result of conversations with prior members of council and of staff. So that's. Because you mentioned it, that you would be maybe.
Well, you do for one, you do it for the other, and that's what's gonna happen, and it's started with one thing and someone's gonna be doing it.
It is time.
Oh, it is what it is. We gotta figure it out. Yeah, I like that. Like, now, if something happens, they're gonna come back on us and say, you guys had the knowledge of this. Why didn't you do something about it?
Exactly. So I forget what one of my time is of the essence. So with,
That report.
if for a report, I think it'll take a special meeting, obviously.
I'll have a report for July 11th.
That
All right,
acceptable,
that's good.
council?
That's fine.
Or do you think that we, I speak? Is that, do you think this, we have to handle it now, like you said, special meeting or?
Well, our staff has already, your staff, to answer your question, if I may.
Yeah.
Staff have already answered the question. There's nothing in writing about this dock. The word around town is that the rumor is that the early 70s, there was a deal made for the other, on the other three docks. A resolution by council. But we're not obligated, in my opinion, to honor something that was back in 1970, 71
And so I
by the
think,
previous council.
all I'm saying, personally, I have made this one, but I would like us to review the past minutes of the council and understand where is it. I don't believe as well that we've checked for any resolutions with respect to this one dock when the property was exchanged. So I think a very complete review is required to make sure that we have that whole complete history and understanding of it. And so, I mean, if you're able to do it sooner and we're able to call a special meeting, I think
Likely
that's
not.
not likely not, July 11th.
Well, I
July 11th
mean,
it is.
we were aware that the Big Moose property, we've done a title search. We asked for a title search to be done on the other one. We can't force the lawyers to work any faster than what we're gonna put this title search, right?
Thank you.
So that's why, in all honesty, both matters. To me, they're separate matters.
Sure.
One dock is separate from the other three because they've got different issues. One of them is tied to a resolution that could be a legal matter that we may not be able to get out of. The other one is not, right?
Right.
So if you feel that this one here needs a quick decision on it.
No, just complete both all at the same time. Yeah.
So I think July 11th, as soon as it's gonna happen.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah, couple of weeks.
okay, no resolution. Probably, thank you very much. And yes, on that note, we will speak on this matter in a few weeks.
I know you can't answer, but any pertinent information you have, bring it to. Okay. CEO or Greg.
Definitely.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Lovely.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for coming this evening. I'm sure we're far. And thank you for council members for taking the time to research the matter. I know some of you did spend time trying to understand it, so that's much appreciated so that we make the right decision. On that note, we'll move to committee reports. There were any public work. I think we move straight to planning and finance committee. And Councillor Kelly and Deputy Mayor Reactors, if you want to make any comments.
So the last meeting continuation. Sure.
Yeah, no. Yes, sorry, Mayor. Pardon me.
How was you happen?
Okay.
Everything okay?
Yes, no, it was fairly straightforward. We've got a similar issue as one we were just talking about. No one's actually sure where the lot lines are between South Shore Road and Virgin. So what both parties have done is the Kennedys and the Guppies have agreed to buy the shore allowance in front of their homes. Now they're going to get the property surveyed to find out where the surveying lines are, because there's a dock involved there as well. This dock thing is, but there again, it's been in place for 20, 30 years. I mean, and that's the way 30, 40, that's the way the lake worked. And everybody was here for 3 or 4 weeks or 6 weeks at a time. But now, as we know, I mean, so now all of a sudden lot lines are important. So, and it's liabilities of evolved, quite frankly. So, no, but it was straightforward, and both parties get along, and hopefully everything ends in a friendly and amicable manner.
It's a big word.
Comments?
I just want to say, like, if this is gonna come up here more and more here with docks and shorelines and all this other stuff here, there's not a problem dealing with it. I just want to like really put this up here. There's not a problem dealing with it. Because this is housekeeping that stuff that's happened in years and years and years ago.
Yep.
And now it's gonna show its face. Well, that's fine. I think we got the right people here to deal with it and make it correct. This here has nothing to do with the municipality. This has to do with residents, right? With surveys and everything else. But I'm just saying, when it comes to the other stuff, let's deal with it. We're gonna be fine with the gang. Oh, sure, really will. There's gonna be some tough decisions, but you know what? The decisions are gonna be actually laid out for us, what we have to do and what we can't do.
Yep.
That's all.
I agree. It's good comments.
Other comments?
There was the committee of adjustments as well. Oh, yeah. Okay. I apologize.
We have two motions.
Yes.
Mover and a seconder, please. Sarah Kelly and Champagne. Whereas no public input was received at the public meeting of the Planning Advisory Committee held June 21st, 2023. And whereas a request has been made by Norman and Kathy Guppy to close and purchase the original shoreline road allowance abutting 73 South Shore Road. And whereas bylaw number 2015-35 provides policies and procedures for the disposition of shoreline road allowances in the municipality of East Ferris. And whereas the request would comply with the policies set out in bylaw number 2015-35, be it hereby resolved that council approves of the recommendation from the Planning Advisory Committee meeting held June 21st, 2023, under resolution number 2023-23, and approve the request made by Norman and Kathy Guppy to close and purchase the original shoreline road allowance abutting 73 South Shore Road and proceed in accordance with the applicable regulations, policies, and procedures set out in bylaw number 2015-35.
Any comments or questions before we vote on that? On favor? It's all carried. Thank you so much.
More of this is gonna happen with people buying Lakeshore Road allowances. Once you start seeing the lines.
It's all, because you know what? Because now it's seeing the value. of it.
Well, they want to put on docks and boat houses. So
Value.
I want to make sure it's their problem. You're right.
And if there's a dock that's a little closer than the other, then it's gonna be.
Oh, Rick, we've got to deal with it.
Yep. Yeah, you don't like it, but I mean, it's gotta be done.
Mover and a seconder, please. Stephanie Van Rikers and Councilor Champagne. Whereas no public input was received at the public meeting of the Planning Advisory Committee meeting held June 21st, 2023, file number C 2023-02, quote and Nikki Lavaseur for lands described as concession 4, part broken lot 7, part lot 8, concession 5, parts broken lots 7 and 8. And RP NR 438, part 6, RP NR 143, on what is locally known as Big Moose Road, have applied to amend comprehensive zoning bylaw number 2021-60 to rezone approximately 15 acres of the property from resort commercial C3 to the lakefront residential special RL zone in order to permit the development of a single detached dwelling on the lot with a reduced frontage of 50 meters, representing the existing lot frontage along Lake Osmond on the southerly portion of the property. And whereas zoning is being applied for concurrently with the consent to sever application, where the approximate 15 acres of land will be severed from the subject lands, and whereas the application is consistent with the provincial policy statement 2020. And whereas the application is in conformity with the policies contained within the official plan for the municipality, be it hereby resolved that council approves the recommendation from the Planning Advisory Committee meeting held June 21st, 2023, resolution number 2023-24.
Question up here, is that Mark Champagne, Road Champagne, that whole area? That is, I'm sorry.
so that's over Big Moose, between Morgan and Gautier.
Oh, okay, oh, it's okay,
That's 15 acres from Big Moose.
okay, I see it now, yeah, I just scrolled down too far, sorry.
A comment about that, it's also coming up in adjustments. There was correspondence from a neighbor that was extensive, a lot of questions, and our planner, Mr. Greg Curtin, answered the relevant questions, and some of them were not germane to what a neighbor should be asking, quite frankly, a little bit outside the lines. But the germane questions were answered. And it's acceptable as far as I'm concerned, and the committee, when he was intervening with everything that went on, so. Basically, what they're doing is they're taking 15 acres, not impeding anyone's, because everyone on Morgan Road is either a private road or a forest road, I'm not sure which, but there's access through the camp to get onto Morgan Road, and everybody on the road has an easement.
Yes.
So it was one of the people that has a cottage on Morgan Road that had extensive questions. It's in the correspondence about it, so, but if you read it through, the questions were answered succinctly by our planners, Greg Kirk. That's why they're part of the records. Because, there were concerns and concerns were addressed. But other than that, it was pretty straightforward. 15 acres, single dwelling.
We're talking in circles, you did well.
Thank you. I have to get out more.
There are, because there's so much activity in municipality, recently I've heard from a few citizens who have mentioned how you provide good information that's complete, that's, so you do a good job on behalf of municipality. You face so many different issues, and yet you're on top of all of them, so thank you for that. It's much appreciated.
Oh, if I can speak to that just for a second, I agree with the value of the properties being what they are, and it's so important that everything be done correctly. We don't want to make mistakes. I mean, I remember when, I remember some mistakes being moved in here and there and on the lake. That's no longer the case. Things have changed.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
There's the odd cottage left. Most of them are homes on Osmond and Trout Lake. So, but it's appreciated what you bring to the table, Greg. Thank you.
You know, take a cup of that. Denise?
Walk it off.
Any further comments or questions with respect to the Committee of Adjustments? Good. No. So on that note, thank you so much. I think we're good now with solutions. We do proceed. Recreation Parks meeting is in Minnesota. No, we did, I thought we, yeah, we were good. Committee of Adjustment, no, we don't vote as once, no. So we're good. Recreation, Parks and Culture Committee, as I said, there's none, it's in July, our next meeting. And, Economic Development Committee as well, I think you are in the fall, is that correct, ma'am? Tomorrow, okay, so. Striking none, Library Board, none, okay, so we come to Police Services Board. And I'll just vote here, just go there. And I think you saw the minutes, well done by Madam Clerk. Just wanted to add to the minutes that Bill McMullen, as we know him, has been named the inspector. That is and he is the head of the North Bay Ontario Provincial Police Detachment. And so we did congratulate him, and he was at our meeting. He presents the report to basic activity on behalf of the Ontario Provincial Police. I also want to mention that as part of their report, I think I had said that last time, that they're looking at additional staff, which is a good for us as a municipality. But certainly they spoke about the recognition camera. We've read about that in the press, but they say as well as they drive through these various roads, these cameras supposedly are wonderful. They immediately help them identify issues. But they also, he also added that for East Ferris, they extended the red light program that they were telling on in North Bay, where people are going through red lights. That's been a concern, and I think we've read about that in here as well. And they've included now the corner of Highway 94 and Highway 17 as part of that programming where they're monitoring. So they're well aware that there's been some issues, and so that was also very informative. And they said that they've, and I think we know that they began their monitoring of lake responsive and troubles. So basically, the report indicates that the calls for service have declined for the same period last year. So basically, they are, let's say, pleased necessarily, but overall, that's what they're reporting, that there are fewer calls for service in these fairs. There's no issues that are standing out. And so in the minutes, it does include in there as well, And on that note, I'll pause though before I go into that. And I saw that Councilor Serrano had his hand up and I'll turn it over to him.
Just for clarity, I don't think it's monitoring. I think what it is, and correct me if I'm wrong. I think if there's a complaint or a major accident at that intersection, that they can go back and review it. There's nobody that's actually monitoring the intersection.
No, my understanding was at our meeting, they spoke of, and I'm correct me if I'm wrong, but they did speak of, that they would be typically, having dispatch at that corner to oversee that particular corner. Now, maybe I misunderstood that, but that was my understanding, correct?
Can you ask that at your next meeting? Just to clarify, I just want, yeah, thanks. Because then if they can, then they should be able to monitor which cruisers are on highway and on municipal roads. So they should be able to indicate whether they're, because there's like with this report, there's some months here where I can go through here and I'm just like looking at some of their traffic details. I'm like, I know for a fact, these are highway stats, not municipality driven stats. So no. So if you could find that out, that'd be great. If there is somebody that's actually monitoring full time, 24 hours or 12 hours a day or whatever the case may be, it'd be good to know.
Are you referring to the motor vehicle collisions that particular,
Uh,
that whole report is off signing stairs? You're absolutely correct. Yeah.
I know that.
Yeah, so you're right about that.
Yes.
That is their issue. They don't have,
Yeah.
correct.
So anyway, if you can find out that, throw that question out to Inspector McMullen of the Northeast region,
Yes.
that'd be great.
Shall do that. So basically, that's their report. And the other item I want to mention is in the fall, we're going to have an educational campaign in the schools. You may have heard that a few years ago, we had that been discontinued, and everyone, I think, concluded that that was unfortunate. And so we very much, actually, like the chairs have encouraged that. And so we have a campaign that's going forward, and our clerks are going to be overseeing that. And so we're very delighted by that. And as well, we have two great members on the conservative board, Mr. I always have a Kolesky, to say it right, and Mr. Champagne, and both are going to participate in the education campaign. So thank you for that. And c'est bon. Any further comments or questions? So thank you so much. We'll move now to does anyone have anything to report on ABCs?
I've got a meeting tomorrow, DSAP meeting,
Okay.
all afternoon, so is there anything anybody wants me to bring up? DSAP meeting is tomorrow afternoon. DSAP.
There's a lot.
Make a list. The one thing I would mention, and I know it's coming up from under correspondence. There's issues everywhere with the homeless and the opioid. There was a report today in teens 3 times since 2014, 3 times number of deaths in the teens. The homeless, one thing no one's addressed is the closure of our psych hospitals and the reduction in beds. Because some people you could, in my opinion, you can provide all the free housing you want. Some people are not going to take it. They don't know enough to get out of the way. It's because it's an illness, but it's everywhere and it's growing exponentially. And I think we have to have separate psych hospitals coming back. My opinion, I don't know. And I know it's DSAP. I mean, it's just look at the cost our municipality has and being DSAP's budget over $70 million.
But I do want to bring forward maybe one issue for keep front and center. We have discussed with the DSAP, the role that as we know, the Sierra Community Center is continuing to be our early childhood center. And there's services that are being added to that center. And on the weekend, I was reminded of the importance of the elevator. And it wasn't youth, but it was seniors. But certainly in the morning, we had someone handling the elevator, but in the afternoon, we didn't. And when people arrive at the elevator, granted, it's only maybe 10 or so people, but they're left there standing, having sucked. for us having to find someone to, they have to find someone to go up on the elevator with them. And so it's embarrassing for them and it's difficult. And so it highlighted to me that I know we had applied for grants, it was denied, but we need to continue that work. I think it's important for young families with strollers, and it's important for seniors as well.
I've pointed out, just being on the committee, a director, I've pointed out a number of times how little we get for the money we put into district social services, quite frankly. And I try to work behind the scenes as best as possible without ruffling too many feathers, because we're one of the few places that really receive very little in comparison to what we pay. When I look at other centers, so, and they're aware of it, just nothing's been done so far, so,
No, they
and I
had,
will keep pushing.
they had indicated their willingness to assist us, I think, in, when we had discussions with them. So it would be good to keep that front and
I
center.
will, definitely.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's a good report. Other items that are before you for the various boards and agencies.
Sorry, go ahead, Rick.
Well, the same thing with me, my meeting's torn out, North Bay District Health Unit. And the same thing that Jerry's talking about, it's on our agenda too, and I'm sure it's on the Conservation Authority about the programs that we're short on for as far as people on the streets. And it's not gonna stop until something gets done soon, and I don't know how it's gonna ever get straightened out, but it's not getting any better. And like I say, it's costing us a lot of money, and it's gonna cost us a lot more money before something does something about it.
Yeah.
We just need to, well, AMO's coming, so I'm sure it's gonna be front and center there also.
Yes.
And I'm sure it's gonna be, and the same thing with public health, you know, the split that's coming down the line, what's on the line now, a 70-30 split. By next year, if the 100% programs aren't funded by the province, there's gonna be a big issue. And I was told at the last meeting, when I wasn't here, but I was at the public health meeting, I kind of spoke about it for a moment, but AMO was supposed to have some kind of resolution that, you know, something is going to be coming down the pipe to help us. If that doesn't come down the pipe, our budget next year is going to take a beating in all 444 municipalities.
No
And
doubt.
that'll be, again, it'll be downloaded on the municipalities, downloaded, that means staff. Right, as far as public health goes.
Yep.
And we need staff. Public health is number one. Same thing, Conservation Authority, they're paying, there's a budget item out there just for cleaning some of these sites. So again, it's on everybody's radar.
That was huge at Laurier Woods. Like, that was disgusting. Stuff, the garbage that was left behind there and everything. I'm at a conservation meeting tomorrow afternoon also.
One of our challenges as we come to those tables is that certainly there's issues that are significant, and that it's as well as keeping our municipal hat on for East Ferris and thinking of what do we need in terms of as well as a municipality, and also negotiating for those elements, not to, and it's difficult in a context where there's so many other issues that are so significant. And, you know, we all play a key role in those organizations, but how do we keep the issues that are also of concern to us?
Our focus.
Our focus on those as well, to bring those forward,
But like, I even said that, like, with AMO coming, like, I know July 11th meeting, is that enough time if we want to have the delegation speak about some of these items? Maybe we can head spin ourselves and come up with a C or
I think that it's.
Deadlines.
The deadlines, yes, but still.
It came to council. See if council want to do delegation.
Right. We continue a little bit to follow the guidelines of our MVP and our discussions with them on that, but certainly he is available anytime to meet with us on any issue. And so if we do have anything that we would like to bring forward, that might be our path forward. I would say so close to our municipality, right, and that's the residents.
no, that's good.
There being no further item, we move to departmental reports. From Mr. Boucher. You've been busy. I would like to share something with council that I was unaware of, talking about insurance earlier on tonight. You know that with respect to the, and you're probably aware of that, but I was unaware of the amount of work that's involved in resolving the insurance claim for us It's incredible. They've had to do reports on 5,000 different items where they've got to check the price, check this, do a report. I think that the work that has been involved is enormous. And so I congratulate Mr. Shea, I congratulate all, Mr. Trottier, whose matters are financial as well. The work has been tremendous. So thank you for that.
You're talking about the municipal garage?
Municipal garage
Okay.
to resolve the insurance claim, Council Bank, they've had to like do every little item, get prices, justify them, make a little report.
Same thing as when somebody has a house fire, right? They, it is.
Like an inventory,
Yeah, except we had lots of little pieces, but I guess, yeah.
big
A
building,
bit.
lots of inventory, lots of supplies, small equipment value, tools.
And you forget,
Yes.
you go look for something that's not there, and you used to have it, right?
Yeah. Like for council's info, everything's resolved in terms of the piece of equipment, the garage itself, and that, it's down to inventory, supplies, parts. Portable signs, stuff like that.
Just sundry materials.
Those things that were supported there, you know, saying, here's the master list. But some of the stuff's old. Try to get a price these days and, you know, back in the day it might have been made with wood, today it's plastic, you know, things like that, but
Oh, it's just,
it's been Antoine and Marius, and I know, I think Jaden's assisted you as well, but there's been a lot of time put into it.
Well, thank God for insurance and we're on budget, that's the main thing, right?
So on that note, sorry, so even in the midst of all of that, we had time to do the tender process, which is so important. So we should shaking.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor and member council. So in the last few weeks, what we were focusing on is the capital project of the Catherine and the village of Baskerville. So for that, we had two tenders. One was for the granular materials, the other for paving. Both tenders were submitted at the same time. They were sent by invitation on June 7th. And the tender closed on the 20th of June. Right here in the office, municipal office. So we had the presence of Council Champagne, our clerk Monica Hawkins, and I was myself with our foreman. I was present. At the time, there were no members of the public. For the granular tender, we had 8 that we submitted and we received 5 submissions. The 5 submissions that you have in the report are basically the amount that they were received at, including all taxes. They were all checked for error emissions. No addendums were issued and no mistakes or no error emissions were found. So based on that, the recommendation is to award the granular materials for the amount of 99,101. Including the HST from RJT Casey Construction. So that was for the granular. As far as the pavement, the asphalt tender, they were actually 3 invitations submitted. We received 2 bids. The bids were also checked. There were no addendum, error emissions. Everything was balanced. There was no errors. So therefore, based on the 2 prices received, the report is simply to recommend that the asphalt paving for that project in the amount of 358,492.50 cents, including HST, be awarded to Miller Paving North Bay. And that's basically the 2 reports for as council is aware, the Public Works Department is doing the work on, like, you know, the construction part, ditching and so forth. Pulverizing was already completed, and that would be the 2 subcontracted, I guess if we want to say, elements.
Good. Any questions? We should reports.
When is the paving getting done?
So we anticipate right now that it's either late of the week, which would be kind of the 20th, 21st, but we've had 2 days of rain, so usually what it means is that things are getting defaced. So I think instead, I'm not sure what the week is, the last week of July. So that would be maybe the week of the 20. I'm just gonna look.
So by the end of July, it should be completed.
That's right. So I believe the week of the 24th would be the last. What we do is we have communication, we provide a communication to the resident. We have the letter and we inform them that as we get updates or changes, we post it on the web. So they're more than welcome to look at the web. So right now, I would say paving is lined up for the week of July.
And if I remember right, we're within budget, I believe, right?
Correct. Everything right now will be.
That was for Catherine, Denise,
Master,
yeah,
525,
550 some.
525. Thanks. Good
25.
Good work. Thanks.
fully paid for by funding.
Good. Yeah.
It was deteriorating.
Yeah, I was nasty.
Yep.
It was nice when I lived up there years ago.
I mean,
We pulled a few things,
Major rocks.
original bait rattle.
Original.
That's good. That's good to know too. And then we're gonna have a meeting, hopefully next week, for roads meeting for some of the issues that we're having. So you keep them too.
On that note, resolutions.
So we'll do the granular first. Can I have a mover and a second, please? Councillor Kelly and Champagne. Council for the municipality of East Ferris accepts the recommendation from the municipal engineer. Contained in report number R 2023-07 and approve the tender and approve that tender EF 2023-06 for granular materials in the amount of $99,101. Including HST be awarded to RGP Cloutier Construction for the Astorville subdivision.
On favor? C'est bon, okay, thank you so much.
And for the paving, a mover and a second, please. Councillor Trahan and Councillor Kelly. The council for the municipality of East Ferris accepts the recommendation from the municipal engineer contained in report number R 2023-08 and approve that tender EF 2023-07. Asphalt paving in the amount of $358,492.50, including HSP be awarded to Miller Paving North Bay for the Astorville subdivision.
On favor? On carry, thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, so when you have good photos, we could maybe include them in a weekly report. If
For construction?
for construction, yeah, so we don't often all there to that area, so they keep us informed, they won't. And we've made people happy, that's for sure.
Maybe what I would do there is, we've done it in the past, I believe, okay, is that we put a social media post up just to say that that area is under construction. I think,
We can, and letters were mailed to every resident.
Yeah.
Every household in that subdivision.
yeah, it's just
Notify them.
yeah, it's just more for the, I guess.
For the general.
Sure. That's a good idea.
Tourism and.
And it keeps people informed of what we're doing. Yeah, nice recommendation.
Okay, we'll have that up tomorrow.
I have to watch how I use my term, direction, recommendation.
Okay.
It's a movie, so. On that note, to bring us to bylaws, and I guess, will you be introducing this, Mr. Question?
I can. This is a bylaw that was brought forward, I believe it was back in February for first and second reading. And tonight's third reading, because now the Ontario Energy Board has approved Enbridge Gas's application to enter into this agreement, but as well as change the certificate that dates back to even further than that. It was an 84 certificate, but because we've changed our name from township to municipality, this certificate has to be updated now. So they've approved both of those, and this is just third reading to finalize it on our end.
Yes,
I have a mover and a seconder, please. Councillor Trahan and Deputy Mayor Rikers. Bylaw number 2023-05, being a bylaw to authorize a franchise agreement between the corporation of the municipality of East Ferris and Enbridge Gas Incorporated be read a third time and passed this 27th day of June 2023. And that said bylaw be signed by the mayor and clerk and sealed with the seal of the corporation.
I simply want, before we vote, just to thank Deputy Mayor Ruyakers. She made us think about whether this may be the opportunity for us to put something in writing with respect to locates, whether, and so we read the document with that thought in mind. And so certainly the idea being that if ever in the future we negotiate natural gas for a community, that that might be a place we would want to insert it, given that this is also provincial type. But it was a good thought. And it's good to think outside the box. So thank you for bringing that forward. So on that note, all in favor of this pass, thank you.
Sure. What you meant on that.
So, we've had that discussion over locates, that we don't want them to start charging for locates, because remember we passed it was one of the municipalities, and we supported the fact that if we allow it, I don't think it.
Saying that we're never
An agreement.
conversation. I think the meeting, a Zoom meeting we had way back, then all that would come into place.
Yes, more specific to our. Well, let's not forget that, but keep that
Absolutely not, but no, that's, yeah.
on that.
It's already on the table for our, well, I sit on that committee, right? So.
Right on. Correspondence and information items, Deputy Mayor Bouillacris.
Yes, so, because the 13B, we've already moved forward for an action item. Right, okay. So, AMO communication, electrification and energy transition panel call for feedback. So that was, June 15th correspondence from AMO. And I was wondering, because we've talked about getting three-phase power in the area, is that a platform that we should maybe put forth our concerns about getting three-phase power here?
Yes.
I don't know.
Well, I mean,
Mayor,
I don't know.
we have three-phase power in parts of the municipality already.
we do, but as part of our economic development plan, it was included after they did the consultation with the committee and the community. There was it felt as part of one of the key recommendations that we look at expanding three-phase power in the municipality. And that's why Councillor Trahan we formed that subcommittee to look at issues of natural gas, electrification. How do we bring in, where do we bring in more three-phase power? So, I mean, to some extent, that's why she's Deputy Mayor Bouillacris is raising the issue, because it's in our plan and we voted on. And I think it's almost number one recommendation, not the second.
But is there not a plan already or a document that shows exactly the three amount of the municipality where three-phase power is? Like getting old hydro and say, here, show us a map where it is and what the options are.
Well, okay. There
We
go.
don't now.
You want,
We don't now.
so those. To take an overall look at that particular issue and to prepare ourselves for the future, if ever there's anything that we need to do. And so that's why we put it forward and we've included it. And that's why in those subcommittees that we formed as part of council, Councillor Trahan was named to take an overall look at that.
Yeah, all we need, and you just need a map that would show where the municipality, where the three-phase, because we've had a few people ask us where three-phase power is. Well done, Champagne is one of them. That's why you built where he did, because he's got three-phase. We've had some other people that wanted to build on Highway 17, needed three-phase. So which 17 is, Highway 94 is, there's parts of Asheville, Farnham that is. But we need a map, maybe that'll help you where you can actually start more economic development within.
Right.
Okay.
I don't know why it came through in our economic development plan. They did a survey of business people, but there was about 100 people interviewed, and it came through as a recommendation. So with that thought, maybe Councillor Trahan, would you be willing to take that back and consider it and come back to council on this matter, or are you interested in?
No, nothing to do with me. I made the comment about the three-phase power, or it's a different, when I was on economic development, we had certain businesses looking at coming into the municipality.
Right.
That required three-phase power, and when we did not have it internally. So I'm not sure, I wasn't there when you guys passed all that, so I was at work.
Well, the economic development plan formed part of the economic development committee of last term. It came forward when you were the chair of that committee.
But I was
Co-chair, yes, correct. But I mean,
if I don't think there's anything going on to our agendas, three-phase power and I don't remember bringing that forward. So anyway, there's more conversation to be done on that. I don't think we need to really exhaust ourselves on that right now, but I think I can probably
side, so they're not on the shore.
Yeah, we might be able to get the mapping from Hydro, but as well. Correct me if I'm wrong, Greg, but we might be able to get that mapping and then get a layer put on our GIS system. So that anytime anyone approaches us, we can pull it up as a layer on our map. And say, yes, this has 3 phases, this doesn't.
Yeah, that would be the goal, so we, as a leader, we actually have this week for the tomorrow. Now with the economic development phase and starting to get into the documents into our main phase. We spent the last meeting reviewing the economic development strategy, and we're going to finish that tomorrow. And we'll be providing council with a copy of what the committee's identified as the key priorities. And in the economic development strategy, the communication section talks about 3-phase power, 3-phase power, identifying where it is and what the opportunity for expansion. So the economic development committee has identified mapping of 3-phase power as a key priorities already.
Precisely that, so that's what I remembered, that here it is exact, I think, I guess, thank you, I know you had it in your material. The goal is to collaborate with service providers to review opportunities for increasing the availability of services such as natural gas and 3-phase hydro within East Ferris. Number 1, explore options with Hydro One for reviewing areas where 3-phase power could be made available to facilitate new investment, exactly to your point, within the community. And so it came from the community feedback, limited hydro capacity. That's how it formed, that's how it evolved into our plan.
Last term of economic development, so it's this items, projects.
Yes, but
Yeah, wish.
okay. It's just that in the small committees that we voted as part of council, okay, when we all had took on small committees that we said Councillor Tahan, yours was for hydro and natural gas. And so we had voted as a council, but those were that was a structure. These are various committees, the heads, and we would each oversee certain elements. So that's why I've turned to you only for that reason, because it was there. And I
Yeah, I've dug in a little bit about it, but it's not the guru of it all, and there's some shortfalls in our municipality with regard to the hydro, but.
So this is why Deputy Mayor Reactors is asking whether or not we would want to follow this panel, and maybe is there a role for us to play in there? That's why she's raising.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
So June 30th is the deadline, 5:00 is, we want to put forward an email to the Ministry of Energy to this panel.
Is that what your committee is putting forward to council?
Well, you were basically, as behalf of council, this subcommittee that we had formed, I can show you the organizational chart where we had that at the start. It came under you. You were, we had put you there as the lead on that because of your work that you had done.
So of this,
Right.
so to bring forward, so if you should have brought this forward to me before council meeting.
Right.
But to have a good discussion with you, deputy, so
Yeah.
if that's the case, if you're putting me underneath the lamp here,
No.
sure, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. I'll do it. No, but I guess basically, I'm just bringing, because it was under correspondence,
Yes.
I didn't know that it was your responsibility. I knew that it was in our economic development. Is it something, because I mean, I certainly could put together an email with our economic
Consulting.
development.
Yes.
And consulting with
Councillor Tahan?
Sure.
Yes, that would be.
Yeah, sure.
It is important. We do these
Yeah,
plans.
and I didn't mean to put you under the lamp. I was just bringing this up and as a council discussion, so I
Okay.
apologize.
Well, you did, it's red.
Pardon me?
Yeah, the station's red.
Direct.
I heard the thump of the bus tires from here.
So I joined the fitness center the other day and I came. Work out.
Frankly, we shouldn't feel like that. It's a good discussion. It's an important discussion. And that's why last year, the last term, the Economic Development Committee, you did include it and you made it, and it is there. So it's a good item to.
Yeah, the Enbridge gas was there, yes.
And
We didn't talk about the hydro, but anyway, we'll talk a little further about it and drop an email. absolutely. You know, what, there's, it's all good. It's all progressive. If we can get some more utilities in our municipality, it's, you know what, it's for our favor, right? So absolutely.
It may be necessary as well for us to revisit the organizational charts of committees that we had set up at the beginning of our term of council. We all have the smaller ones to make sure that nothing falls through the cracks. All the issues that we have facing us are important. And so maybe for our next meeting, or maybe in Friday's weekly report, to circulate that so we can see where our names are.
Friday.
So we're okay, so that no one feels it then, it's not the intention. It's just,
I don't think we have to do that. I think it's a waste of time for staff, but pretty sure we all know what committees we stand on and whatnot, but I just didn't know that I was gonna bring up this discussion, that's all, so.
well, were you aware that, so this particular committee, you go to look at the chart when it comes on Friday, you'll see it there and you'll see.
Thanks.
So we'll circulate that on Friday.
Thanks.
Thank you. Okay. Anything else? That's it. So, thank you. Anyway, good discussion. It's an important issue. And so, Councilor Kelly,
No, I'm fine, thank you.
Councilor Ferrand,
No, I'm good, thanks.
Councilor Champagne.
Doing things on there, I did very fun helping them. Budget is there, it's financial statements, the others. Anybody have questions? Fire away. If you notice the surplus on there, but remember the surplus, 70% of that goes back to the province. So we're only left with 30% at the end, so. But also, I see we've got our quarterly from OGRA. So there's, I don't know if anybody else got it, but this should be under correspondence. I'm just gonna say it now because obviously the CEO doesn't get a copy, which he should, I don't know why. Neither did the mayor.
No, I got one on the table.
Did you? Okay.
Sorry.
I
It might have been here, I may have taken your copy, Frankie.
don't believe so. I think the clerk left it for you.
Okay.
And there's big, there's a big write up about. Remember you had them in it. Sort of 2-page document. So if anybody's listening out there and wants to look at it, they can go under OGRA and look under the website, Ontario Good Road Association.
Where does that sit right now, Rick? Are they gonna be putting cameras in? On
Well,
the,
it's coming up.
okay, right on.
But I was talking to Minister Maroney, she said there's something coming at AMO. But I said, I'll be up in the front of the mic after the same question. So, okay. But my big question I told her is why can't buses come with cameras when the cars have to come with them? Then there's no argument of them. So we'll see what happens. That's all I have.
Thank you. Councilor Tanner.
No,
I think-
are you making, sorry?
Yeah.
Wait.
Well, I don't know, yes, do you have any items to report?
As indicated, I said.
No, okay, I wasn't sure if we had gone now, we were, okay, thank you. Approval of correspondence.
Mover and a seconder, please. There's Kelly and Champagne. The council approved the correspondence and information as circulated with the agenda of June 27th, 2023.
Big. C'est bon, carry, Councilor Champagne, c'est bon, okay. Refer to support from our last meeting.
Yes, we have 4 different resolutions, so.
Okay.
Yes. Mover and a seconder, please. Councilor Trahan. Deputy Mayor Royackers, the council for the municipality of East Ferris supports resolution number 23-245 from the city of Flint West regarding renovictions. That was one we brought forward from last meeting.
Any questions or comments before we vote? All in favor? Okay, next one.
Mover seconder, please. Councilors Kelly and Champagne. That council for the municipality of East Ferris supports the letter sent to the Honorable David Monetti, PCMP Minister of Justice and Attorney General of Canada from Landark County regarding paramedic safety.
All in favor?
Mover and seconder, please. Councilor Trahan, Royackers. The council for the municipality of East Ferris supports the letter sent to the Ontario Minister of Health from the municipality of Huron Shores regarding the healthcare crisis.
All in favor? Very.
Mover and a seconder.
Just keep picking too.
Kelly, that council for the municipality of East Ferris supports the resolution from the municipality of South Huron regarding the proposed provincial planning statement 2023.
Favor? Yvonne, thank you so much.
So this last one is the resolution phenomenon thing. It's quite lengthy.
Everybody's read it.
Yeah, it was all it is included in the packages, so Councilor, sure, I will read it.
Unless you got a French version.
We would be here very else.
It's pretty straightforward.
Second hearing of
Councilor W. May Reuters.
okay, I saw.
It's exactly the same resolution and it's still in the language municipality of East Ferris.
It's
It's publicized on our agenda too.
Next one is to cancel the second meeting for the month of July and August. So this is in accordance with our procedural bylaw.
Mover and seconder, please. Councilor Champagne, Councilor Kelly. Whereas section 5.3 of the council procedural bylaw number 2020-17 states that there shall only be one meeting of council held in the month of July and August. By resolve, the council of the municipality of East Ferris cancel the regular scheduled meetings of July 25th and August 22nd, 2023, and that a special meeting of council will be scheduled in accordance with section 240 of the municipal act as amended at the call of the chair if required.
On favor? Okay, thank you. Okay, so we move to approval of accounts payable.
Mover and seconder, please. Councilor Champagne and Trahan. Council approved the general accounts for the municipality of East Ferris as indicated in the check register dated June 27th, 2023, in the amount of $672,104.29.
On favor? Other business, Mr. Christie.
Thank you, Mayor Rockford. So we had received a request from Captain Leah Pierce from 22 Wing North Bay. She's part of the Air Force. And on July 5th, they're having a funeral up at the base, but the interment's happening at the Astorville Cemetery. So what they'd like to do is have a firing party there. They actually have members from 5 Wing Goose Bay that'll be present, coming to the funeral. So because our excessive noise bylaw didn't prohibit a firing party, they've asked for an exemption to our bylaw. So that's what's come forward to council tonight. It's gonna happen between 11 a.m. and noon. So within an hour, within the hour. What we thought about doing was putting something out that day or even the day before to just say to residents in that area, you will hear this between 11 and 12. We're just putting you on notice that, you know, this is because some people might hear that and wonder what's going on, right? So we thought about putting a notice to residents as long as council moved them to go ahead.
One thing I would recommend is maybe get also up the first line. Lots of people in there don't talk about it. Just a heads up saying because they're gonna hear it there, right?
Yeah.
Would that hurt? I'm just saying, just let them know, because a lot of people don't look at their website.
Not everyone has the way you're.
Especially this time of year.
Especially the older
Yeah,
generation.
that's a good point. Not all the residents around there are on social media.
If that's what council wants, fine.
Posted.
Just a poster.
It wouldn't hurt if you put it in the library as well. No, I'm just saying, it's difficult to get the message across to the general public. This time of year, especially, you got a lot of tourists showing up too.
Any further comments or questions? And we have a resolution this evening to that. Wait, Councilor Trahan?
What we do, because the residents would probably call the OPP. So I'm pretty sure the OPP, if you just respond, converse with the OPP, saying that if they do get calls from that time frame, this is what's going on. That would alleviate a lot of issues. So if you in your next police services board or whatever case may be, let them know and so then their dispatch will have that.
We'll contact OPP.
I got that paperwork in my office.
That's probably the best way.
I'm always amazed by social media. Did you hear that noise? Did you hear that bang? And then there's the 20. I know, it's incredible. There are all these DNA challenges or noise. Anyway, all in favor? Did you read it? No, I didn't think so. Okay.
It's all in favor.
Councilor Fran and Councilor Champagne. Whereas Captain Pierce from the 22 Wing North Bay has made a request to the municipality for the exemption under section 4 of municipal bylaw 2015-33, a bylaw to prohibit excessive noise. And whereas with Captain Pierce's request, the exemption would only apply for July 5th, 2023, between the hours of 11 a.m. and 12 p.m. The purpose of a firing party at a military internment service to be held at the cemetery in Astorville, be it hereby resolved that council for the municipality of East Ferris approve the request received from Captain Pierce, 22 Wing North Bay, and grant an exemption of municipal bylaw 2015-33 for July 5th, 2023, between the hours of 11 a.m. and 12 p.m.
All in favor? Okay, then we move to, I don't think we have an in camera, confirmatory bylaw.
Mover and a seconder, please. Deputy Mayor Reuters and Councilor Champagne.
Don't be one.
Whereas council for the municipality of East Ferris deems it expedient to pass through readings of the following bylaw at this session, be it hereby resolved that a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council from June 13th, 2023 to June 27th, 2023 be read a first, second, and third time, passed and numbered 2023-27, and that said bylaw be signed by the mayor and clerk and sealed with the seal of the corporation.
Favor? All. And so that's before we adjourn, we wish everyone a good, safe, time and a day, and it's a moment for rest and it's a moment to celebrate our great country. So on that note, Madam Clerk, do proceed with the adjournment.
Over in a second. Akers, Councilor Champagne, but we do now adjourn at 7:37 p.m. and meet again on July 11th, 2020.